Hey everyone, it's been a while since I've done my last review / critique, as a lot of stuff's been happening in my life, but I'm back and ready to make some reviews. This time I'm going to be switching up the genre from the only 2 videos that I've made on Night Rain, and this time I'm going to be switching up to rhythm action on this specific game called Unbeatable. And while I do plan to make a Night Rain DLC critique more than like a review in the future, I wanted to focus on this game because it's something that I've been looking forward to for a pretty long time now. So Unbeatable is a rhythm action game made by D-Cell Games and then published by PlayStack, who have been involved with a variety of releases from roguelike games such as Balatro to Metroidvanias like The Last Faith. Unbeatable offers 2 main ways to play. One is flawless arcade mode, which offers numerous songs, genres, and artists to play from, and 2, the campaign, which has a rich narrative experience that involves the aforementioned rhythm action components, but mostly focuses on the plots and characters through its cinematic-like experience. I will put a disclaimer saying that I'm not very familiar with the rhythm action genre, as I mostly play roguelikes and Souls-like games, so if you're looking for more of an in-depth review from someone with a lot of experience in the genre, this video is unfortunately not for you. However, as a new player coming into the rhythm action genre, I think that my perspective may provide a new insight for anyone looking to get into it as well. And so yeah, after my nearly 20 hours of playing Unbeatable, I would definitely recommend this game because of its unique art style and vibe, its excellent arcade system that offers a challenging yet rewarding and satisfying experience, and an amazing campaign that is focused on exploration and rich character-based storytelling. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into this review. So the first thing I wanted to talk about with this game is the visual design, which I think D-Cell knocked out of the park. They've got a very distinct visual look with its 2D anime, vibrant color look and feel, but it's also got this really cool mix of a 2D and 3D world in which your character is of course 2D, but you're moving in this 3D environment. And I found it really refreshing and a cool way to play, as it's normally all 2D or 3D, but the game somehow makes this style work. Its use of various camera angles set up the scenes for the movement to seem natural and does a great job at facilitating this distinct style. And while I do applaud Unbeatable's ambitious design, it isn't perfect. Like, for starters, I would recommend that you play with a controller, as it makes movement much more seamless than if you're using a keyboard. You can't really move your character with the mouse, so the only directional input is WASD, which can make the walking and running through environments feel pretty blocky and jank. But if you play with a controller, this issue completely goes away because of the left analog stick that you use. Also, because of the 2D art style, you can get caught up on the map geometry, and sometimes it makes your character freak out, which is kind of weird, but it's nothing too bad. It doesn't happen very often. On top of the unique art style, the game also relies heavily on vibes to create its identity, which I think it did a very good job with. The music for this game is kind of inspired by Weezerish, as devs had stated in an interview, going for more of a late 90s, early 2000s Weezerish pop punk sound, which I definitely think complements that youthful adventure they're going for with this band and all that. And it does a really good job. Again, like, the music in this game is really good. The original soundtrack that they made for this game, unironically, I would listen to it as real music. I was looking for it on Spotify, but I don't know if it's gonna come out or if it's just like kind of in limbo right now. But again, I think the music is very good and definitely complements the identity that they were going for with Unbeatable. And combine that with this humor that they have, which I found to be pretty funny, with lots of fourth wall breaks and the game not taking itself too seriously, it all culminates to make Unbeatable, and it's just a very distinct identity that I found very catching. It's why I got into the game. At first, the trailers were actually just hooking me with this unique world that they were making. I don't really know how to wrap this section up, so we're just going to move on to the next section, which is the arcade mode. The first / main part of the game that people are going to be playing on is the arcade mode, which has a lot of content. And according to D-Cells, it's flawless, which I mostly agree with, but we'll get back to that later. This mode, though, offers 72 tracks in the base game alone. That's not the DLC or like expansion pack, which is a lot more than I expected, but a majority of them you'll have to unlock, but that has to do with my complaints that we'll get to later. There are a variety of genres available, but I'm not going to pretend like I can identify them. There's just so many different types of music, and I don't really know. Although I have an unholy amount of music listened to on Spotify, I could not name them for the life of me. So in an interview with the devs, D-Cell said that there's going to be pop punk, J-rock, and some fusion of prog rock, EDM, and plunderphonics thrown in there too. I don't know. From what I've seen, there's a lot of like kind of, again, like pop punk, some more like video game-ish music, like retro, and there's a lot of mixes of the original soundtrack, which can get I'm not gonna lie, it can be like kind of like there's a lot of mixes. I'm not gonna bash on them for it because like some people might actually like that, but I typically find myself not playing the mixes because I don't think they're as good as the original songs, but that's just me. But yeah, there's also some like hints of breakcore and stuff like that, which I really like, but again, that's really all I can think about right now. I don't really know, so take that information as you will. But yeah, like I said, with the original soundtrack that they made, they're going for that more Weezer-ish sound, which I think was pretty cool and reflected in the music. Like I said, I will listen to it on my own, so if you find me as a credible source, you can just take that as you will. But yeah, they also have some tracks that are not completely original, like some mixes from other artists, like Lena Raine, who produced this Celeste soundtrack, so there's a track for her, and there are a few other tracks, but most of it is original music, which is not a problem for me. But yeah. In my experience, the arcade mode has been almost flawless. As far as the rhythm action goes, I have zero complaints, but like I said before, I'm completely new to this genre, so possibly my lack of experience could blind me to some actual criticisms that the game has. But like I said, it's done a great job for me as far as hooking me in with its intuitive and satisfying gameplay. I've put in 20 hours, like I said, most of that focused on the arcade, but I've also put in some demo hours, and that's probably boosting me to around 30 hours, where most of that again was spent in the arcade. And the intuitive part comes from the fact that you really only need 2 buttons to play, and in combination with a variety of difficulty levels, it's very welcoming to new players. In my experience, I was able to work my way up from normal difficulty all the way to unbeatable within about 6 hours of gameplay, and I'm not saying that because I'm like, oh, I'm so naturally talented at this game. I'm not, but I'm saying that rather to show you that you can learn the ropes pretty quickly. And as the difficulty gets higher, the game introduces more and more mechanics to keep you on your toes, from rapid screen switching to more complex release timings. And I fucking hate release timings, but that's a different discussion in a different video or whatever, I don't know. But yeah, there's a ton of room for skill expression through difficulty levels, and yeah, let me tell you, the highest difficulty is called unbeatable for a reason. It is difficult, and I know I said I only got there in 6 hours, but there's a really hard, it's mostly because I've been grinding the hell out of the game. I'm not gonna lie, I've been wanting to get better, and so I'm getting better as I play. But it's definitely a challenging experience. Who's actually doing that? But there's another reason why I got to unbeatable consistently within the first few hours, and that's because the gameplay is extremely addicting and satisfying. I did not put the game down until I could get to unbeatable. It was so fun for me, and I feel like that has to do with the fact that the sound effects and the dynamic camera make the game very satisfying and addicting, like I just said. The feedback from hitting the note on key is extremely nice to hear, but it doesn't take away from the song in any type of way. It's more of a smack of sound effect, but it does the job. Because if you ask me, that hit feedback serves as a way to the flow state. I know that word has been beat to death recently with the new trend, but I really don't have any other way to describe it, because once you start hitting them consistently, you get that rhythm for the song, and you might not have gotten that rhythm if you just listen to the song by itself. And once that happens, you kind of just lock in, and there's not really any better feeling than that. On top of that though, the dynamic camera, which can be turned off if it makes you a little bit like motion sick or whatever, I don't really know, makes playing through the songs feel more immersive and meaningful, and makes those shitty release timings a bit more bearable. But yeah, I do hate release timings. But moving on, the complaints I have about the arcade really don't have anything to do with the rhythm action itself, but rather the challenge board that lets you unlock new songs. And so remember when I said that this game's sense of humor allows for the game not to take itself too seriously? Well, that's also here in the sense that the challenge board consists of jokes that are related to the challenge itself. And so it's really kind of frustrating if you're trying to actually unlock the songs because you want to play the songs, but the challenge board doesn't really give you any information to unlock those songs because they're just all jokes that are meant to be understood once you unlock the challenge or once you've beaten the challenge, which is funny in itself. But like, if you're trying to actually unlock songs, then it's just kind of annoying. But I'm sure there's a guide out there or something. But this also like kind of seeps into the achievements as well. They're also just basically jokes based around the achievement, and they don't really provide any context as to how to get them. Some of them do. I'm not gonna act like they all are just like some amazing like challenging puzzle to understand. But like most of them are just like, I don't really know what I'm doing. But maybe that's just something on my end that I got wrong while I was playing. Who knows? Overall, though, the arcade is a nearly flawless experience due to its intuitive and flashy gameplay that leaves room for skill expression at any level. This is probably where players are going to spend the majority of their time, and D-Cells did a great job at making sure that it's not only enjoyable, but packed with enough content to keep the player coming back for more. And honestly, probably right after making this video, I'm gonna go play the arcade mode again, because it's just that fun for me personally, and I think anybody could really like this. It's really simple, like I said, and very addicting. And many times when I made this video, when I was going through making notes, I would find myself just spending like an hour or two longer than I actually wanted to, because I was just trying to nail the song over and over and over and unlock more stuff. And so it was really fun. And again, I strongly recommend. It's definitely one of the strongest points of the entire game. But that's only the first half of the game, and the second half is the narrative campaign, which consists of 5 episodes and a final 6 episodes that should run you a minimum of 6 hours of content. But it took me around 10 to 11, and that's because the campaign is definitely focused on exploration, and I don't even have all the achievements, so there's a good amount to do, and I'm probably going to give it a second replay eventually and get all the achievements. But as far as little synopsis, you play as Beat and her friend Quaver as they assemble a ragtag band to play music in a world where music itself is illegal. And that may seem like a silly premise, but I think it's very well executed due to the introduction of the Silence Monsters and the Harm Agency, the main threats of the game, which make the premise seem a lot more real, and it definitely picks up a lot during the final chapters, and it kind of all just comes together. I think it's a pretty good story. Originally, I was going to play on the hard difficulty because there is some rhythm action components, like I said, baked into the story, but then I said that was the intended experience, so my gamer ego goaded me into the expert difficulty. In my experience, the campaign offers a good amount of challenge in the songs that they provide, but it also involves this beat the cop kind of minigame as well that's not present in the arcade, which I found to be actually harder than the actual main rhythm action arcade mode. So take that as you will. If you do play through the campaign, I would play probably just on hard difficulty, but if you think you got it, then go for it. I will say though that the campaign does start off really slow in terms of actual rhythm gameplay, as the first like 1.5 episodes barely have any rhythm stuff, but as you play through it, the actual gameplay ramps up significantly. But one of the biggest strengths of the campaign, in my opinion, was the way that the characters interact with each other and the world itself. Again, the game focuses on exploration, and it rewards the player with these character interactions, and the writers use these unique character personalities to form fun and entertaining interactions, whether it be Quaver being an annoying smartass or Clef being a sporadic person and always clashing with Beat, which ends up in a fistfight. These characters are just brought to life even more by the world that they inhabit, and it ultimately just etched their personality into the mind of me, and I'm sure many other players even more. And in each environment, there's so much to interact with each giving just that much more insight into the character's personality, whether that be from small remarks about structures, or just wacky side quests, or just banter between characters. There's just a lot, and I enjoyed it. I like to go into every little thing, because you have to go around and click a lot of different things if you want to see the remarks or interactions between characters, and I like doing that. I went to everything that I could to get as much interaction, because I love seeing the way that the characters interact. They have great chemistry, different personalities that clash, and it's just fun seeing them get to interact with each other. And while some people may not enjoy the clicking on 10 million things or NPCs, I found it to be an enjoyable way to reward players for exploring every nook and cranny of the world, because it further enhances that focus on the characters, which the writing and the overall narrative and plot focus on a lot. However, even if you blitz through the game, don't really care about the side quests or whatever, you're still in for a pretty good story. Again, the writers use these characters with vastly different personalities and they help each other grow as people throughout their journey. And the plot is pretty entertaining, and again, specifically these character interactions are where they hit the nail on the head. This is particularly true with Beat and Quaver, which I won't get too into for the spoilers of the game. I don't want to spoil this is a review. But through the campaign, they grow by helping each other through a similar struggle that this may seem a little crazy, but how Mary and Dante kind of helped each other indirectly in Devil May Cry 3, as crazy as that sounds, but it did remind me of that. And the dialogue, which is obviously needed if you want to make characters interact in any way, is very good, in my opinion, and it connected with me, as I'm sure it will with many other players, and it really captures that feeling of not really being able to express one's feelings, but also trying to understand them yourself and come to terms about how you feel about certain things. And so the dialogue between characters can be really funny because, again, like the different personalities of everybody in this band kind of just conflict, and it's very funny, but also it does a really good job of conveying the themes and the character growth as well. The creators of the game say that Unbeatable is about losing yourself, but if you ask me, I'd say that it's really about finding yourself more than anything, and I really enjoyed getting to see that through the characters and the narrative's coverage of major themes such as grief and nihilism and that will to continue on, but also lesser themes of learned helplessness and ego. And that's not to say that those themes themselves are lesser, but they're just not given as much coverage as the major themes. And so yeah, these themes are blended into the plot of the game and is again only enriched by these character interactions and dialogue, and I really found it enjoyable. But as far as my complaints go, the biggest one I have is that there are some major gaps in terms of the plot and lore, specifically before the game begins and a bit at the ending, you know, with the story taking place in media res or whatever you say, like in the middle of whatever. You would expect some things to be explained as far as the past, but they are, especially in the final episode, but just not enough to make actual sense of the bigger picture. You know, while the game does do a very good job of providing an entertaining and meaningful story, I think that there are just some areas that needed a bit more fleshing out to make the story seem more coherent and understandable. And just a minor complaint I also have, it's not really about the narrative, it's just a campaign experience in general, but that has to do with the voice acting and dialogue within the game. And I think everyone did a great job with the voice acting, and you know, it was a little rough at the first episode with Beef. But it definitely got way better as the narrative continued. But I will say that like the dialogue itself and the way that, because there's voice acting for the dialogue in the game, and you have to click from block to block for each new thing of dialogue, which isn't bad in itself, but it is a bit strange in practice because the voice acting sounds like it was meant to flow together. And so you'll hear breathing sounds or endings of sentences hit an abrupt pause, but then when you click on the next block, there's a delay between each, and it just sounds like it was supposed to have continued as one breath of speech, but it's just awkwardly cut up. Again, this is more of a nitpick, but I think the game would have benefited from an auto text button seen in other games like Persona or visual novels, because there's a good amount of voice acting, and it would have made the experience a bit more smooth. But yeah, that's really about it. About my complaints, I would still definitely recommend anyone who buys the game to experience the campaign at least once. I think you'd be doing yourself a massive disservice not to, as each episode delivers on a very good experience. They have honestly kind of like movie-like directing and very unique environments filled with exploration in mind, and excellent dialogue and a narrative direction that will be worth your time. I honestly enjoyed every little bit of it, and again, I do have those complaints, but I still recommend it. So in conclusion, I would recommend that you buy Unbeatable. It's got an amazing arcade system that is very addicting, and I will be playing after this video, but also it's got this great campaign that is very entertaining and has some great messages for everyone who plays. And while it's lacking in some elements, I think it's worth your time. And it's also got this incredible visual style that is just eye candy for a person like me, and I'm sure if you're anything like me, you'll be just attracted to this game. It is a bit pricey, sitting at like $30 something, but honestly, I would just pick it up on sale if you're hesitant about buying it. It's on sale right now, it's only 10% off, which isn't that much, but I know that the main dev, like RJ Lake or something, he was in some controversy because of his take on Silksong pricing, so the game is a bit pricey, and they have their reasons for that. So if you're not comfortable with spending that amount of money, then yeah, I would just wait for a sale. But I bought it at a full price because I really wanted to play the game and I found it really fun. So yeah. And so yeah, that is the video. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. I've been talking for about an hour now. I have no idea how my voice isn't dead yet, but I have to now edit all of that and it probably won't be anywhere near an hour. But yeah, I had fun making this video. If you have any feedback, please let me know because I would like to start consistently making reviews and I want to make them better. And I don't know if I felt as confident, because especially because I'm not very familiar with this genre, I didn't feel very confident that I made a decent review. So please lay it on me. Just don't be like a dick or anything. But if you are a dick, then whatever. Just at least make it sound coherent. Don't just say bad review. Tell me what I can do better. So thank you guys again for watching. And yeah, that's about it for me. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. Hey everyone, editor Beanie here. I'm a bit sick. The night after I recorded the script, I got sick, so if that's why my voice sounds a little bit weird, then that's why. But I just figured I'd mention my favorite songs before closing the video up because I thought there'd be some cool recommendations. So my favorite songs are "Sleeping In," "KMO VIP," which is definitely an interesting song but super fun to play, and then also "Bookend Song," the first or second, it really doesn't matter, and then memorized. Those are all fantastic songs to play, in my opinion. I like the music, regardless of playing it. But yeah, if you're getting the game, then those are some recommendations. So yeah, thank you guys for watching again, and Merry Christmas to you all.